Alright, so he is +1 to hit, +1 to save, +3 attacks on his jaws, +1 rend, and +1 attack on the other weapons. What does that skittle next to your guy mean? How does he have plus what on his teeth? Are you sure you're not cheating? Oh, well, it's because he maybe shouldn't you have done this skit with a friend? So this video is going to be another great example of what can we do with our bits boxes. So many games like Age of Sigmar, Warcry, 40k, Dungeons and Dragons, Marvel Crisis Protocol, many more, they have a lot of overlapping buffs. And really when you start to get more into these games, you get more into the, I don't want to say advanced play, but even the intermediate play, it starts to be a lot to add up and a lot to keep track of. You have some of the things like the all-out defense, all-out attack, finest hour, and +1 to attack, -1 rend, all these extra buffs that you can get. And these I'm speaking more specifically towards AOS, because that is the Warhammer that I play the most of, and the one that I have the most experience and the most issues with, honestly. So here I'm working through some of my bits boxes, and I'm saying, what makes sense for each faction? Now when it comes down to the paint job of it, this is one thing I really try to keep in mind is these are tokens. These aren't minis. Really not worrying about the detail. My whole goal of this was to have one fun night of painting. I think sometimes that's kind of an aspect that I almost lose in a lot of the mini painting, where I try to take what I'm doing to a different level, is I lose the fun aspect. I lose the whole reason that we're really doing this in the first place. So this was just an excuse to just forget about trying to get all the little details. Just throw on that base coat, have fun with it. See, maybe there's a little detail that I want to throw in, a little one that'll be like cool to work in there, but really one night, have fun. So I went through and I picked out the bits that really fit the theme the most, and this one here, the chest plate, was one that I really enjoyed bringing in here, because everything else was using a shield, but when it came to the Stormcast, I don't know why, but I couldn't find a shield. I must have used it up in so many different aspects, so having that breastplate, that's a really cool feature to me, and I really wish I had something for the other factions that was similar. When it comes out to the finest hour, I thought something that was like armored, shield and a sword is the most common one that I did. For Stormcast, it was just a heavy armored shoulder going into the spear. Death, this one here was pretty quick and easy. I have countless swords, countless shields, countless extra little bits from the old skeleton boxes, the old zombie boxes. Those things had more bits in them than anything I have ever seen. The new stuff just doesn't even kind of compare. So this piece right here is a really good example of just have fun. Slap paint on it and do what you want. There's a lot of detail I do on my Blood Knights, which is what this hand is from, and I don't worry about it here. I'm throwing on that base coat of silver, and I'm just moving on. Stepping back again into one of the reasons why I'm doing these parts is I quite often just found myself forgetting who had all-out attack this turn. I might have 3-4 units that are the exact same thing. A bunch of Blood Knights, a bunch of Boingrot Bounders, zombies, Vindictors, whatever it might be. Some of them are painted pretty similar, even though I try to make the paint jobs kind of specific to that unit, but still cohesive. At the end of the night, or at the end of the battle round, I'll forget, did that guy have all-out defense on it? Which hero had all-out defense? Which hero had all-out attack? Which hero had finest hour? So these tokens have really been proven to be a way that helps us out and kind of just make the gameplay a little bit faster, and I think it makes it a little bit more almost interactive, more fun for all of the players around. Now I did choose general faction specific across this. I have a handful of different armies, and with it a ton of different bits, and I thought this was just a really fun thing to find what bits kind of spoke to each one of these. So whether you do faction specific or you just do a token with a sword, a token with a shield, and maybe a token with parts of a hero for the finest hour, or somebody slain on the ground, really doesn't matter as long as you have fun with it. That's the whole point of this project right here. And when it comes down to the details of it, yeah, there's a little bit that I do. You know, I pick out some of the scales, I highlight a little bit of areas here, but really I just picked one highlight or one detail on every model to just kind of be that fun little accent. In all honesty, you could just give these a base coat, give them a dry brush, if that, just give them a base coat. And you can call it a day and move on. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. A lot of my Stormcast, I have this ethereal blue, like a ghost blue kind of look over all the weapon blades and over all their faces. And I really like to use Ill-Gotten Gold by Turbo Dork on all my Stormcast to accent the weapons and accent the armor. So that's what I chose to use on these ones. Kept it pretty simple, pretty quick, and I had those 3 pieces done in virtually no time in the grand scheme of it all. Moving over to Death, well, that's a pretty clear path right there. I'm just going to throw some Null Oil on it. Really not going to spend a lot of time on these ones. I could throw a lot of Rust, make it look a little bit more corroded, but in the end it's not really needed. And it was fun to do this. It was fun to see how quickly it came together. You know, I ended up throwing a little bit of blood onto this one, and really that's it. Bring in some more Turbo Dork for some really quick detailing, some really cool accents at the end. Something like the color shifting paints, that just makes this process so much quicker and keeps it still pretty fun. That's going to be a common theme, and I'm not going to quit saying it because that's the whole reason, other than keeping track of what you're doing in the game, is just to have darn fun at this. As we're finishing these up and we move over to like the Bloom Spike Gits era of it, they had a very specific faction or buff that they can have, which is the one that I forgot the most was +1 to attack with the jaws of the squigs. There were a handful of different ways that they could get this, and really at the end of the combat phase it was kind of confusing as to who had what. So I took some of the extra mouths that were left over from the squig herd, painted them up on an oversized base, and made an indent in the sand that I used behind it that kind of fits snug in there, a D6. As always, everyone who stuck around to this point of the end, thank you. It really does help out. It really does show up on all the algorithms and all the stats that come across. So please like, share, comment, subscribe. Those are some of the big ones. If you didn't like it, sorry. So if you guys have any cool ideas for something like +1 Ren that the squigs get, or Mystic Shield, or some other cool like faction specific buff that you can use a specific token for, throw an idea down in the comments. I'll play around with it, see what I can come up with, and I'll throw them up over on Instagram or the old Tiki Takis once I can. So please follow me on Instagram at abuchananas_tabletop. And if you run over to TikTok, it's at abuchananas_no-mio-dilbo. So until next time, check out a quick little B-roll of some of the pieces that we made, and I'll see you later. Abuchananas.